Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my face palette and highlighter collection. I decided to rope those two things together because I don't feel I have enough of both to warrant separate videos. So you're looking at everything right now. I'm going to lay everything out for you. So let's just get stuck in. Welcome if you're new here, welcome if you are a returning visitor. Thank you so very much for clicking on my video. Today we are going to be talking about highlighters and face palettes. Not necessarily something I talk about a lot, but in the past couple of months I have been going over different parts of my makeup collection, my foundations, concealers, blush, bronzer, and I thought that before I do declutters in March, I could also show you this part of my makeup collection. Normally I love chatting mostly about eyeshadow palettes. I love testing out Essence and Catrice products as well, so you'll see those products in here too. And I'm someone who likes to get the use out of their products, which is why I do declutters, which is why I do shop my stashes. And that also means that pretty much everything you see lying in front of you has been tried. I think there's only like maybe 1 or 2 highlighters that I haven't really tried yet. Everything else I've already put to the test and I have thoughts on. So this is going to be mini reviews, loads of swatches. So let me split some things out. We're going to start with the face palettes first, then we'll do liquid and cream highlighters, and then we'll end with powder highlighters towards the end. We are looking at my face palette collection. This is everything there is. I don't have that many face palettes because I just don't use them that much. I end up decluttering a lot of them all the time and I just don't bring in that many. I like trying things out though, so there are a couple of things here that you haven't seen me talking about just yet. And there are a couple of things here that I already know I will probably be getting rid of when I do my next declutter sometime in March. What I've also put in here are little bronzer or blush highlighter duos. So that's sort of what we've got going on here. And the 2 highlighter palettes I actually use the least out of all of these, but since these all have highlighters in, I thought we could talk about it right now because that seemed to make sense in my brain. But one that I think I'll be getting rid of is the Laura Geller Live Glows On High Def Glow Illuminating Palette. This has 3 of her Baked Gelée swirl kind of highlighters. These were all the hype a couple of years ago and I never got to try the formula. This popped up at my local TK Maxx and I was like, right, I can try the formula. And now I understand why so many people like these back in the day. I think for like the 2015, 2016 moment when highlighters really became a thing and everybody started raving about them. This was revolutionary, but I feel that there are just other highlighters in my collection that I prefer much more than this. But I'm glad I got to try it and I got it on the cheap. So let me show you what these shades look like. I believe the 3 shades were unique to the palette. So I hope my camera picks up on all the shifts because that would be fun. So we have Opal Haze, Champagne Toast, and Moon Dust. And Moon Dust is the one that when I was trying this out, I wore the most because it's like a pinky peachy shift. This was a little bit too yellow for me and this is a little bit too purple for my liking. But yeah, I hope that you can sort of see what these do once I swatch them. Oh yes, you can see the different colors. So there you have them. And I sadly feel quite similarly about my Anastasia Moonchild palette. Now this I never really used as a face highlighter palette. This palette ended up being much more of like an inner corner highlight moment for me, but I have actually in my singles collection, so my single eyeshadow collection, I now have highlightery kind of shades like this for like as part of my eyeshadow collection. So I don't really feel this still serves a purpose in my collection and I haven't reached for it for a while. And to be quite fair, I think the only shade that I really kept it around for all this time is Lucky Clover because that has a green flip as you'll see in a minute. So we've got Blue Eyes, Star, Purple Horseshoe, Pink Heart, Lucky Clover, and Blue Moon. So let me show you the swatches. So this is the top row. And this would be that bottom row. And then you'll see that especially Lucky Clover is the more unique shade here. And I think that this palette was like the first time we really got these kind of highlighters. These 2 Becca Champagne Splits. I don't own these blushes or these highlighters anywhere else than in these compacts, which is why I struggle deciding on what to do with these because It's not as if I'm reaching for these two flying saucers a whole lot. And I have to say that where I really like my Becca bronzer and highlighters, their blushes didn't really blow me away. So I've got two of these. I believe these were limited edition at the time. So this is Pamplemousse and Prosecco Pop. And this is Flower Child and Champagne Pop. And both of these highlighters are a bit too dark for me. This kind of blush shade I love, and this as well. But I just have these kind of blushes in singles that I think I prefer. Let me know in a comment down below what you think I should do. So this is the first one. So that's Pamplemousse, which is this vibrant coral shade that I love. I mean, if you saw my blush collection, you will have seen that. And Prosecco Pop, it's just a little bit too yellow gold for me and a little bit too deep, so it doesn't really work. And Flower Child and Champagne Pop, I actually feel the same about. So this is Flower Child, which is that sort of Benefit Coralista kind of coral, a bit softer. And then Champagne Pop, it's deep. So let me round out by talking about the other blush highlightery combinations in this little collection. So this is by Wayne Goss. This is his Weightless Veil Blush Palette in the shade Vivid Azalea. And I spotted this on Beautylish when I was looking into buying something else from there, and I was like, this intrigues me. Like, could this blush work on me? And I have found that it works really, really well with my fair skin if I use a very light hand. But it is bright enough and pigmented enough that if you have very deep skin, it can still work. The highlighter, though, I don't think I would recommend for people with deep skin. But, I mean, look at that. The blush feels a little bit dry to the touch, not gonna lie. But it does blend really nicely with a brush. I mean, it's not the best swatch, like the best in a swatch. And where the highlighter looks very icy and white in the pan, it does have like a peachy gold sort of shine to it. So I love the combination of these two. This is really, really pretty. I have yet to put this in a Shop My Stash. This is quite new to me. And then the other blush highlighter combination is this Love Cheek Duo from Natasha Denona. This is from her Valentine's Day collection last year. And again, very torn what to do with this because, I mean, the packaging is so, so cute. Ooh, I'm blinding you. Look at that, it's so cute. But the products inside, I mean, it's got a cream that isn't covered, and then the highlighter swatches beautifully, but it's so difficult to pick up with a brush that it's just a bit of a faff to use, really. So I like these products, but I mean, that blush is already sort of drying out. It's not like my favorite shade of blush. And then this highlighter, it looks so pretty in a finger swatch, but I can't get it to do this on my cheeks. And then I just have two duos here, and both of them are essentially the same product. Oh no, I stuck my nail in. So these two products are essentially the same thing, because this is the Tilbury Hollywood Bronze and Glow. No, Filmstar Bronze and Glow. And this is the W7 Hollywood Bronze and Glow, which was one of my first ever like bronzers that I found that actually worked on me. But now that I own both, I think that the Charlotte is actually lighter. What do you guys think? I just have it in the travel size because I was like, I don't want to commit to the full size. And I've always kept this one around so I could compare the two of them. And I haven't swatched them side by side yet. So let me see what these look like. So let's do the bronzers first, because that's what I really, really sort of bought this product for, because I love that bronzer so much. Yeah, the Charlotte Tilbury is far, far lighter than the W7. Oh yeah, that's several shades lighter. It's a bit more pink toned almost, the Charlotte one. I quite like the look of that. I've used it on my face already and I really liked it. Both of them, like this I've used so much. I thought I could hit pan on it at some point in time, but I've practically stopped using it. And then the highlighter was never my favorite aspect here. So let me see if I can smooth over that little scratch now. Oh yeah. So again, the Charlotte Tilbury here, and then the W7. Yeah, the Charlotte products feel a lot smoother, a lot more blendable. But those highlighters look pretty identical, I have to say. And then we get my actual face palettes. These three are my picks for when I travel, which is why some of these also look very beat up, because that's just how it goes. This sleek face form palette in Fair is a long-standing favorite. It's got blush, highlighter, and a bronzer, so what's not to love? And this is not going anywhere because I still love these products. It's one of the very few sleek products still in my collection till this day. And because it is so, pun intended, sleek, this is just so easy to travel with. It's so small and compact and you still get a lot of product. And it's just three really, like for me, perfect shades to wear. But you know me, I like my options. And this e.l.f. palette is actually a palette I put together myself, so I'm not sure if they still do it, but you used to be able to buy these palettes with blushes, bronzers, and highlighters. And what I've ended up doing is that I've kept the shades from three of those palettes that I liked, and you were able to pop them out, and I put this little palette together. And this is different from the sleek one because this does have a contour. So it's bronzer, contour, blush, and highlight. And I feel that the highlighter in this is a bit more subtle. And this is, again, like nice to travel with, and it's got a really good sized mirror in the lid. So I love traveling with this when I go on vacation for like a longer period of time and I don't know what kind of lighting situation I have, because you can very easily take this to like a window and do your makeup. And this is actually shade-wise quite similar to the sleek, I feel. And I like having that option of like the cool and the warm. And then it just has a bit more of a more subtle highlighter. And finally, my newest acquisition is the Dior, what is this called? Backstage Glow Face Palette in the shade Universal. It's got two highlighters, a blush, and a bronzer. And so the top two are highlighters. This is supposed to be your blush, and that's your bronzer. And this works amazingly well on me. I actually have been traveling with this a lot this past year. Ever since I got it, like this shade is perfect. And what I like to do for the bronzer is that I actually mix these two shades together, because by itself this is a bit too deep for me and this is a bit too golden for me as a highlight, so I tend to dip my brush into both to sort of get the look I want. And the blush is pretty too, and these are all pretty glowy and just give you that nice healthy bit of flush. And I actually think that I may want to invest in another one of these because I love this one so much, but I'm still undecided which one. Like, I don't know which other one to get. And then some products that, again, I like traveling with because they are so versatile, and those are my Natascha Denona cheek palettes. I wanted to try some more Natascha Denona cheek products in 2021, and that's why I got these. So I have the Love Glow cheek palette, which looks like this. And then I have her bronze cheek palette, which her tan, if you're looking for something deeper, tan is deeper, I believe. And these are really pretty. Just look at that. These do come with flaps to keep the creams like fresh and clean, you could say. And then both of these have shades that I thought, is that going to work? So this looks like it's going to be too deep for me. And also in here, this shade seems to be far too orange. But what I like to do when I travel with these is that these are the only thing I'll bring. So I'll use this for blush, highlighter, bronzer, my eyeshadow. Like, I'll just use this as a one-stop shop, and it works amazingly well. So let me show you these. So that's what the Love Cheek palette looks like. And that would be the bronze palette. So yeah, this is definitely something that I would use as a eyeshadow on me. This is actually stunning as a cream bronzer. And then this highlighter is really nice as well. It's quite warm toned. So what I have also done is that I like to combine these two so that I bring both. So here is my liquid and cream highlighter collection. And this we're going to be very short and sweet about because I just don't have that many. In fact, I've roped in some of my glowy primers because I feel they could work as a highlighter. You know what I mean? Especially something like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. And I also feel that these two products that are sold as highlighters by Lisa Eldridge and Giorgio Armani are sometimes also really good under makeup. So that's why I decided to just put those things in here. I have one of these like doe foot applicator highlighters from Essence, the Glow Glow Go Instant Highlighter. I wasn't a fan. I actually completely forgot about reviewing this because it was just a little bit dark for my complexion really, and I just don't really like the doe foot. So let me see if I can blend it out a bit. Like, it's pretty, but not something I need. And then for my stick highlighters, I have the Milk highlighter in Lit, which is pretty, but again, I'm not sure whether this is necessarily my shade. It's a bit warm, a bit deep, and I think I have something similarly in the Benefit What's Up Mini that I have. So this I love wearing in the summertime, and I think that's actually a bit better for me. It's got a bit more brightness, even though the Milk one does feel very nice and creamy. Oh wow, do you just see that the Benefit has much more shine than the Milk? Maybe I need to keep both. But my favorite stick highlighter is the Glossier Halo Scope in the shade Quartz. So this has a little balm in the middle, and then it just has this like pearly sort of shade. This, on my skin, is like one of the best highlighters ever if I want like that barely there, like gloss. Like, do you just see? That just looks wet. Like, that doesn't even look like highlighter. And then I have my H&M Do It All stick in the shade Pearl. I thought this could be a nice one, but no, this just feels like, you know, if you've ever tried a cheap highlighter stick, that's what this feels like. It's creamy, it's okay, but I just don't feel like the shade, like it's just a little bit too white. I mean, it's pretty, but it's got a big white cast that doesn't really show up on camera. Like on camera, it looks like there's nothing there, but if I don't have it like reflecting the way I look at it, it just looks like the Tin Man. And then we have some True liquid highlighters. This one from Catrice, you can just see that it's had its moment, but the shade is so pretty, which is why I don't want to get rid of it. I revived it after my last declutter, thinking I might use this. Oh wow, this is crumbly. But I mean, I'm not sure if this still warrants being used because, oh, but look at that. Like, this is how I found out that I like peachy highlighters on me. It's like a pink to peach duochrome. Do you just see that? So stunning. My newest favorite liquid highlighter is the Rare Beauty liquid highlighter in the shade Mesmerize. I waited for this shade to come back in stock at French Sephora because if you're doing this pretty of a peachy toned highlighter that isn't too dark, because a lot of peachy tones can be too dark if you've got fair skin, but do you just see what happens when you, oh man, look at that. Look at that. And that's just one dab. One dab, and we end up with this. Like, look at that. And it's so pretty. It doesn't lay on the skin weirdly. It's glow. And finally, the L'Oreal Glow Mon Amour highlighting drops. And this, I remember trying this for my L'Oreal video and really liking it. But I do think these are too golden toned for me. Like, it's a bit too stark of a contrast, I think. I mean, they're pretty, but again, once you start blending it in, it's not as dark as you might think. But this is a bit too much for my liking. Again, Tin Man waiting to happen. If that's what you're going for, then try these. And these are quite oily, so if you have oily skin, don't go for it. I think also mine's, maybe you can see, but it's starting to separate a little bit. You can shake it up and it's fine, but look at that. Right, so this section sort of was instigated by my purchasing these two products. I definitely purchased the Lisa Eldridge one, so I could talk about it in today's video, not gonna lie. Let's talk about the Giorgio Armani first. This is their Fluid Sheer Glow Enhancer. I have this in the shade 7. Not sure anymore what the shade is actually called, something like Rose something something. And this, wow, this is really, really pretty, but it does work best. Maybe that's because it's in the name Glow Enhancer. This doesn't really work very well if you wear it by itself. Like, this is very pretty as a base. If you put your foundation over this, it's very stunning. As a highlighter, it's a bit too subtle to really do very much. And I sadly feel the same way about the Lisa Eldridge Elevated Glow Highlighter. This is better used under makeup, I find, than over. I bought the shade Cosmic Rose because it's just the lightest one that she does I thought was going to be a bit too similar to things I already have. So I wanted to have something a little bit more unique for what I've got going on. So that's this then. And this again, it has a bit of a warm peachy undertone once you blend it out. But then, once it's there, it's got a bit more shine than the Giorgio Armani. I really like the look of this. And it doesn't have like a weird dark cast. It really just turns into skin. And that's why I think it's much more up to par. Like something like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, which also gives your face this more like airbrush glowy look. So maybe I can, shall I put them side by side? I have the Charlotte Tilbury in Too Clair. We've got the Charlotte. Let me do that one first. So do you just see, it just kind of airbrushes your hand a little bit there. And then the Lisa Eldridge one, I feel, makes for like a similar effect. It takes a little bit more time to work into the skin. It's a bit more hydrating, I would say. It's not as thick. I mean, ooh, yeah. Oh, no. That definitely is more of a highlighter. That's the Lisa Eldridge. This is the Charlotte. These two, I also wanted to show you because I feel these are dupes. The MAC Strobe Cream in Pink Light. I have a full size of this in my backup drawer because I ended up liking it so much. And also the Milani Prime Light Primer. I'm not sure if they still do this. But these are really pretty. Like, here's the MAC. It's a bit, perhaps a bit more pinky. So there we have the MAC. And then this is what the Milani looks like. The Milani has a bit more warmth. So Milani is over here. And then this top one is MAC. I feel they're very similar. Now, in terms of glowy primers, cream of the crop to me is the Glossier Future Dew. The only reason why I haven't used this more is because I don't want to use it up. Because Glossier is really hard to buy for me, but I have found that they now have a store in London. And this, like, again, like, it's that L'Oreal primer. Like, if you want to look borderline oily, I mean, you do need to work it in. It is an oil, but that I find even prettier than the L'Oreal one for sure. And finally, something that I think I'm pretty sure I'll declutter this. This is the Pretty Fresh Hydrating Illuminator from ColourPop. This is in their shade Soft Ivory. If that L'Oreal thing was too much, this is just disco ball. Like, this has actual shimmer particles in it. And I feel that they show up when you blend it in. I thought we could start off with my drugstore highlighters first because I've got not that many of them actually. I thought I had more, but I seem to be a bougie highlighter person, it seems. Let's start here. This is Sydney Grace's Black Tie. It's a loose highlighter, which I just don't have that many of. And this was someone depotted this for me. And it's pretty, but I just don't really use these kind of products. It was like fun to try, but it's quite like dark and just not really, like, look at that. It's just a little too much for what I like. And it's got quite a deep purple to it. So on my skin, if I look at it when it doesn't catch the light, oh, there you can see it. Do you just see how much of a cast that has? I just have one little Essence highlighter. This is the highlighter in Heroic. I keep this around because I want to be able to always do a full face of Essence. So that's why I have this. This isn't my favorite highlighter though. It's pretty, but I just didn't love this as much. It's not as intense as I'd like it to be. Yes, it was affordable, but I feel that this Catrice highlighter is a similar price point and much better than this one. So let's talk about Catrice then. So we have the Sungasm highlighter in, I don't know, this was from their limited edition collection. I thought this could be similar to the Charlotte Tilbury that I have. I'll keep this off to the side so I can do a comparative swatch for you in a minute. But this is actually much lighter and brighter than the Charlotte Tilbury that I have. And where it looks like, look at how dark this looks in the packaging. And then look at how light it swatches. Like, How is that the same highlighter? And that Catrice can do a good highlighter is for sure true in their More Than Glow highlighter line. This is 010 Ultimate Platinum Gaze. And this I found was great as an alternative for ColourPop's Flexitarian. So ColourPop's Flexitarian I had in their Super Shock, but I felt this shade was the same. And not only that, this is easier to use because this is a powder and you can just pick it up with a brush, whereas the Super Shocks you need to pick up with a sponge to really make it work. So yeah, this is a really nice, again, light gold, but not too yellow. And then this holiday season, they did these little highlighters. They are mini highlighters from their Advent Beauty gift shop limited edition. This is Pink Crystal Glow. Let me open it up so you can see. And then this one is Lilac Frozen Glow. And I thought, how can that be a lilac highlighter? Like, look at what this looks like. It looks like nothing in the pan. I mainly bought it because of this guy, but then I was like, might be fun to show both of them. So the pink one, I mean, it's a bit deep. I don't love it as much as the other one. Like, it's sort of like champagne pop kind of vibes. But this one, I mean, I'm not sure how to describe this. I've never seen anything like it because it does have a very cool undertone. It's not very lilac at all, but it does have, once you work it into the skin, it does seem to have a little bit of that cool undertone without it being super icy. Like, this is one of those highlighters that the more you build it up and work it into the skin, like, the prettier it gets. Like, you need a few layers for it to really, really show up. But I don't know why, but that just to me seemed very unique, and it was like $2 at the drugstore. I mean, it's very pretty. Then we have my two K-Beauty highlighters. This is by the Saem. This is their Prism highlighter. This is PK01. I don't know what the shade name is because it's in Korean. And I thought this might be too dark for me because it's got quite a strong pink base in the pan and then a golden shift. But this is really pretty. It reminds me a little bit, what does it remind me of? It reminds me a bit of the highlighter that you get in the Natascha Denona Love Cheek Duo. Where did it go? Let me put them side by side to see if I'm right. Oh, do you see? So this is the Natascha Denona, and this is the K-Beauty one. So this is the K-Beauty one. And this is the Natascha Denona. Yeah, they're quite similar. And this is the Apyo Juicy Peng highlighter in shade 01. This is their Jelly Beam highlighter. And this is, again, a bit more unique because it has that pinky peach sort of shift. And it's got like a cream to powder sort of idea to it. So this is very sheer though. It has a very sheer base. I'm not sure you can see that. Maybe my hand is just a little, from all the swatching, maybe it's just not showing up that well. But I really like the look of this as well. Can you see? Oh, there you can. Do you see that? It's sheer and then it just has pink. It's really pretty. And then we've got some Kiko things here. This is from their Precious Rituals collection. I bought the entire line. This is Copper and Calm. This is their vegan face highlighter. And this is too dark for me, sadly. So this is lovely. I really like the pattern. But for me, this is like, it's not even borderline too dark. I mean, it's too dark. And the same goes for their Fruit Explosion highlighter in Lost in Rose. I struggle with a lot of Kiko products being far too dark for me. Sometimes they'll look pretty in a swatch, but then I just put them on my face and it just doesn't really work. So this is another one where it's a bit more rose gold and a bit more shiny, but it still has quite a strong base. My favorite highlighter from Kiko though is their Glow Fusion Powder highlighter in shade 01. Can you see the dip? Can you see that? Yep, this is one of my most used highlighters. I tried to hit pan on it in 2021, didn't happen, but this is that really soft gold highlighter. And then it does have a little bit of warmth, like something just a little bit peachy running through it. And this is one of the best subtle highlighters on the market, in my opinion. Like, if you don't want kapow highlight, the Kiko Glow Fusion is definitely the way to go. Another brand that I have multiples of is Annabelle. This is a Canadian drugstore brand, if I'm not mistaken. These were sent to me in a swap a few years ago. This is their Perfect Glow Highlighter in Topaz, and this is my preferred white gold. So I've got light golds, but white gold is like a shade in itself. And I had a couple of these a couple of years ago. I had NARS's Albatross and a few of these, but this is a very strong, like pearly white base. And then it flashes gold. And then in the same swap, I got one of their hollow highlighters. This is in the shade Pegasus. I got another one, I think a blue one. Was it a blue one? In Nova. But that one I really didn't really wear. But this is a Pinky Peach Shift. So again, similar to that Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo thing, only this is a little icier, I feel. And then we just have these two left. So my H&M highlighter in Aurora Blush. Great dupe for a high-end highlighter that I'm going to show you in a bit. Again, I may just leave this around so that I can swatch it next to Becca's Prismatic Amethyst. So if that's a highlighter you're looking for, this is that kind of shade. So it's that sort of icy lavender. It's got a purple pink flash. It's very pretty. And then ColourPop, the Villains Hades highlighter in Everybody's Got a Weakness. I mean, the packaging on these is just great. The shade itself, too dark, a bit too yellow, a bit too dark. I should have gone for a different one of these, but these were all quite dark. I can make it work. I mean, it's okay. It's, again, close to that Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo, I think. But this just has, again, if I look at this without it catching the light, it just has a little bit of a weird yellow sort of base to it. That's not too flattering with my skin tone. And finally, these are all of my high-end highlighters. So let me just start somewhere. Yeah, I put the Kaleidos in with the high-end stuff. I'm not sure if it's high-end. Let me just start with the Charlotte Tilbury and do that comparison with the Catrice one. So this is her, I always forget the name, Hollywood Superstar Glow Highlighter. This is too dark. I'm not gonna lie. This is a little bit deep for my complexion, but I do really like this. I mean, in the summertime, it's very pretty. I still need to like put it in a Shop My Stash to really like make it work. But this, I mean, yes, it's dark, but it's very pretty, very smooth. And so I thought that this was going to be similar. Let me put them side by side so you can see why I was thinking that. So do you just see that if you look at these in the pan, they look identical, but they're not when you swatch them, which is why you always end up with a bunch of highlighters because they sometimes just look differently than you might expect. Like, look at how much lighter the Catrice one is. Like, do you just see? And I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to the Charlotte Tilbury in terms of smoothness though. So, and the reflection of this guy is actually bugging me quite a bit. So let's talk about the Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm in How Many Carats. This is a highlighter that I thought I wasn't going to like until I tried it. So this is one of those like creamy, glass-like, very sheer kind of highlighters. It's quite glittery, so I thought that's not gonna look nice, but I ended up loving this. It looks like glass on your skin. I love it. And then I have one of their Kilowatt highlighters in Lightning Dust, which is over here, and Fire Crystal. As you can see, the one I use the most is Fire Crystal. I've got a baby bit of pan, as you can see. Not sure if you can see it right there. But yeah, this was in a recent Shop My Stash. I keep reaching for this. It's one of my favorite more cool toned highlighters that isn't too icy, because a lot of them are so just icy, like white. And this, yes, it's light, but it's not like super duper icy, I feel. And now that we're here anyways, let's compare these three, because I have three that are essentially the same. So we have Becca's Prismatic Amethyst, which is of course discontinued because Becca went out of business. This is one of my all-time favorite highlighters. It's got a huge dent. I'm not sure if you can see that. The pattern inside it makes it a bit difficult to see, but it's got a huge dent. And that's what Prismatic Amethyst looks like. Now, Urban Decay's Aura Highlighter, also long since discontinued, is, I have found, one of the better dupes for Prismatic Amethyst. It's a little less lavender and a bit more pink, I feel. So that to me has always been like the subtle version of Prismatic Amethyst. Like, do you just see that? In terms of shade, they're very similar, but the Urban Decay is a little less shiny. I really like it. Both of them have huge dents. And then this is the H&M one that I just told you about. Let me swatch this next to it, because I feel that since now both of these are gone, but this you can still buy. If you can't find H&M Beauty in stores, check them out online. Do you just see that it's very similar? So yeah, then we'll just tackle the Becca ones next, because that's like, there's 4 of these here for a reason, because I really like the formula. I don't see myself decluttering these anytime soon. This is Rose Quartz. This is one of the very few pink toned highlighters I still own, because in terms of pink tones, I'm just over the very icy pink, and this has a bit more depth to it. So that would be Rose Quartz, very, very stunning. And then I have Pearl, which is the only true white highlighter that I have. Again, I don't own any others because I have this guy. And that's like Tin Man waiting to happen. Like, it's very, very white. And then finally, I have Vanilla Quartz. And this is my other favorite, together with Prismatic Amethyst. This, how should I describe this? It's like a light yellow, but it does have a bit of peach running through it. Like, I feel this was one of the first like more duochrome kind of highlighters I ever bought. It's not a true duochrome because it doesn't have a flip, but do you just see that apart from the gold, it has something different running through it, like pinky peach? Do you just see that? And then we have the Lone Ranger here. This is a KVD Beauty eyeshadow in the shade Thunderstruck. And this is that peachy pink duochromy kind of vibe that I love so, so much. I've kept this around for quite some time. Again, I got it in a swap, but I'm not sure. Do I still need this? Like, it is pretty though. Like, look at that. And it looks a bit icier on camera than it does in real life. Like, in real life, it has more of like a gold peach to pink sort of shift. But if we're talking peachy tones, my favorite peachy toned highlighter is the Nabla Skin Glazing Highlighter in the shade Privilege. This may seem like it's going to be too dark for me, but this I got at a time where I was like very much over very icy sort of highlighters, and I want them to have, I still want them to be light, but I don't want them to be too glass like Tin Man like. And this just has the warmth that I like. And then this is just, oh, it's so pretty. Do you just see how much shine that has? Currently in my Shop My Stash, another great sort of like highlighters for people who don't like highlighters. The Hourglass Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder in Iridescent Strobe Light. A lot of people didn't like these when Hourglass first launched them because a lot of these had glitter in them. This one I feel doesn't. And it's one of my more subtle highlighters. It's, again, pinky peach. But yeah, this kind of disappears. Can you even see this? Let me build it up. So what I said, it's a subtle highlighter. Like, that's the shade right there. And then we're putting it here. Like, this you can just apply, and now you can really see it. Do you see that? I mean, it's just shine, glow, but it's a powder. Shall we talk OGs? We have the Balm's Merry Luminizer with pan and like quite a big hole in the middle, like, I'm not gonna lie. And this guy, like, I don't have a lot of gold highlighters because this has been my gold highlighter of choice for many, many years. And I just don't need anything that's golden toned if I can get something that's this perfect. And then we've got another OG, the Too Faced, what's this called again? Love Light Prismatic Highlighter in Ray of Light. This was my first peachy toned highlighter ever. I still like it till this day, but I think I like the Nabla one just a little bit better because this is a bit deeper in its base product. But again, where I like subtle highlighters, like this is not too intense. Whereas the Nabla, let me just swatch it next to it so you can see, I feel has a lot more shine and glow. So I like having similar shades, but one that's more intense and one that's a little softer. Do you just see the difference there? The Nabla is so much more intense. And I feel similarly about these two from Benefit. I've got the Cookie Highlighter and Dandelion Twinkle. So Cookie is like my very intense one. You can tell I've gone to town on this one. Like you can see the brush strokes in there. I do feel it's quite similar to the Fenty, I think, the Fire Crystal one. But I feel that this is a bit more, dare I say, champagne? Like champagne pop for pale people. That's what I would call this. And then Dandelion, I feel, is very similar in shade, but like the Too Faced and the Nabla, this is just the soft focus version of that. So again, if you want something that's very intense, Cookie, and then the Dandelion Twinkle has glow, but it's more like candlelit glow. So if you don't want to glow like you're coming from outer, like if you don't want your glow to be seen from outer space, go for something like this. Ofra, I used to have many more Ofra highlighters, but I've decluttered all of them over the years, and Pillow Talk is kind of on the chopping block, I'm not gonna lie, because it is that very icy pink that I've just told you a million times I'm over. But I kind of kept this one around to have an Ofra highlighter left, and also to have this kind of shade still somewhere in my collection. But do I still need this? I feel I don't. Something that's definitely not on the chopping block is the Melt Digital Dust highlighter in Morningstar. It looks white, it's not. I think that if I have anything that's super duper close to that Natasha Denona Love Cheek highlighter that's still easy to pick up because this is a powder, then I think it may be this. It looks icy white in the pan, and then it just has quite a lot of warmth as well as a pink running through it. Like, do you just, that looks stunning. And then we have these two. Dior, this is their Nude Air Luminizer in 001. And this, again, where did it go? I feel it's quite similar to good old Miss Charlotte. However, I like the formula of this actually a little bit better. So this has been my highlighter of choice for the summertime for a very, very long time. It is borderline too dark, but this, it just, because of that Big Gelée formula, it just works so well. And then I spotted this, I think a couple of months ago. This is their Dior Forever Couture Luminizer in 02 Pink Glow. And this is one of the reasons why I feel I can get rid of Pillow Talk, because this is my new favorite, like, pink toned highlighter that is light and definitely on the sort of icy side. But dude, that looks like wet skin. It's a powder. Like, how do they do this? But one of my favorite powder highlighters that gives you a glass skin effect is NARS Fort de France. In my spring declutter of 2021, I kept this over, hold your breath, Embrazy from Anastasia, because Embrazy had a darker cast on me than this does, but I felt that the shades were identical. So if you've been lusting after the Embrazy highlighter from ABH, NARS Fort de France is, I believe, in their permanent collection. You can still get it. So this has been lovely. This was in a recent Shop My Stash. I love this in the winter time. You're probably going to think, Micah, that's far too dark for your skin tone. But look at that. Like, if you want to go gold glass, do you just see how that blends into the skin? And that's something that I've got going on here as well, I feel. MAC Extra Dimension highlighters are lovely. I bought Double Gleam second, because even though this one is better for my skin tone, I just thought the other one, which is Show Gold, just looked like a lot more interesting. So Show Gold is a pink to gold, and that's why I got that one first. So again, that Natascha Denona Love Cheek Duo, if I look at Show Gold, yeah, I think just has a little bit like brightness to it, and then this would be Double Gleam. So Show Gold and Double Gleam. Finally, we have Kaleidos. And I got a couple of their Space Age highlighters last year. I just got myself the gifted highlighter. I did a video with the 6 I already owned over the summertime where I also show these going onto my face. So if you want to see what the effect is if you apply them with a brush to the cheeks, I've got you covered. I have the old Mars Melter because that one has a white base and a magenta flash, whereas the new one has a very strong peach undertone, which I don't like. So this seemed to be better for me, and this is actually one of my favorites. It's also quite unique, I have to say. But yeah, this is, you know, icy white at first, but then it has that very sort of deep rosy magenta shade. Love it. I got Moon Cruiser, which I believe is their lavender one. They do a blue one and they do a more purpley one. So I always forget which one I actually have. Yeah, this is more purple. So it looks quite blue in the pen actually, but that could be because of the packaging. But then when you swatch it, it's got quite a strong flash of purple. Oh, it looks very blue on camera. In real life, it looks very purple. And then we have Comet Catcher, which is a very intense pink, but again with the white base. So it works really well on my complexion. This is just not my favorite though, because I felt this one was a bit stiff to use. Like I didn't love it as much as Mars Melter, and I feel they're quite similar in the end. Like if you were to look into both, you don't need both, I feel. Diamond Dasher is my favorite of the standard ones, and it's been discontinued. This is what it looks like in the pan. It looks peachy, but it's got a lot of like dimensional shimmer running through it. Like this has actual shimmers. Like you may think, oh, that's not my vibe, but it actually works the best out of all of these for every day. Did I now swatch? Oh, do you just see? Again, that very glass-like blends away into nothing kind of finish. And then finally, I also got Star Surfer, and this is their more peachy toned one. I didn't get any of the like super standard ones, like the golds that they do and the champagnes, because that's just not my vibe. So this is their more like peachy toned one. That's also very pretty and wearable. But yeah, Diamond Dasher is the most unique one in the bunch that I like to reach for on a day-to-day basis. And then we have the two multi-chrome ones. So we have Prophecy, and Prophecy is sort of, it's got a lot of orange running through it and green, which I don't love, which is why I got the gifted one, because it's more pinky leaning, so it's more cool toned. So let me see if I can show you these side by side so you can really see the difference. So can you just see, you can see that this is more gold green, and this seems to have more vibrancy to it on my skin tone. So this is Prophecy. And then Gifted is right next to it. So if you have a cooler undertone, I think Gifted may be better for you. And the other one is better if you have a warm skin tone. So that's it, you guys. Those were all of the highlighters that I wanted to show you today. I roped in some extra products just to round out the video and make sure we got a good lowdown of everything. As I already mentioned, declutters are coming next month, so I hope you'd like to stay tuned. For now, thank you very much for watching today's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make 3 new videos a week, so make sure you stop by for the next one in a few days. So see you then. Bye-bye.